Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to today's episode of The Fishing Teacher. And man, I really appreciate you guys spending some time with me watching the video. Always very grateful for that. And guys, today we're going to be giving sort of some foundational tips on fishing walking topwaters. We've talked a little bit about this in the past, but we're getting into May right now at the time that I shoot this video. And guys, in my opinion, May is the best time of year to fish a walking topwater out of all year, all the entire season. So we're going to get into that and sort of give you guys some of my favorite ways to fish it and what to look for on that. Also guys, real quick reminder, tomorrow is the last day of our spring sale, our April sale on my Silverback series RB2 and RB3 series sunglasses. If you get a pair of these by tomorrow, you can get them at 30% off. I'll put the Silverback link in the description. Get you guys a good pair of glasses for that spring fishing season. I think you guys will really like them. Okay guys, walking topwaters have been around forever, man. They really have. This is like the original Spook here. This thing's been around for, God, probably 70, 80 years. And what the deal is, I've got 3 walking topwaters, 3 of my favorite type and colors that I want to go over. And I'm sort of going to give you guys a situational response as far as when I use each one of these. Because each one of these has an application based upon the water clarity, time of day, wind, all that type of deal. So the first one I want to talk about is my favorite. This is the Megabass Diamanté walking topwater. And also guys, I'll link all of my, I'll link all the walking topwaters I use in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video. If you guys would like to pick up a couple of them. But this Megabass Diamanté is absolutely my favorite. It's sort of like the size of a super spook a little bit. It had one of the things about this is a little bit different. It's got some really good components in it, really lifelike looking. And it's got a little bit tighter side-to-side action than a spook. A spook will have a really exaggerated side-to-side action, and the Diamanté's got a little bit more subdued like that. So it looks a little bit more like a minnow speeding across the water. And there's times that I use both. There's times I use the spook and the Diamanté, but this is absolutely probably my favorite one. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is I've got 3 primary colors that I use. I use different ones occasionally, but I got 3 primary ones. First one is some type of a bone color like this. Bone is super hard to beat. Anytime that you've got some type of low light conditions, like early in the morning, if it's cloudy, if it's rainy, something like that, a bone is a really good color because it really stands out in the water. Fish can see it from a long way. Looks like a shad. One of the most productive colors that you can possibly use, especially on the lower light days. Now, on those days that maybe it's partly cloudy or something like that, say you get out in the morning and it's, it's low light conditions in the morning, the sun's coming up, you got some shade on the water, yet it's maybe sunny or partly cloudy. That's when I'll go to a more of a translucent finish like this matte shad, a little bit more see-through. And sometimes the see-through finish versus the flat color makes a big difference as far as the fish hitting it in a little bit more low light or higher light conditions. Another thing you're going to find out about it is if you have a calm day, like there's no ripple on the water, these translucent ones will work a little bit better. And on days where there's some type of a chop on the water, the bone is going to work a little better. Again, it's a little bit more visible. But those are my 2 favorites out there. But one of my all-time favorites, guys, for Spook, for topwater, is the old bullfrog colored spook. This thing has been around forever, and it's still one of my favorite colors. It works in a wide range of conditions. It's not the greatest, again, if it's calm and it's pretty bright out. You need a little bit of cloud cover. It's better on the darker days, clear water. But the biggest fish I ever caught on a topwater lure was on actually this exact spook right here. It was at Lake Murray in October about 25 years ago, and I caught an 8-pound, 11-ounce bass during the Bass Megabucks tournament, in the tournament, on this exact spook right here. So this bullfrog doesn't get used much anymore. It's an old school color, really, really works good. But the colors will have an impact. There's no doubt that they will, but there's other variables that I think are just as important as color as far as generating a strike from a walking topwater. The next thing with that is your retrieve. A lot of different ways that you can work some type of a walking topwater, and a lot of it depends on the water temperature, water clarity, and that type of deal. If you're in a situation, let's say the water is a little bit not real clear, say the water visibility is say 2 to 3 feet, which is about the minimum I like for a walking topwater. One of the things that I found out about a little bit more off-colored water is you've got to work your top water a little bit slower. So you want to make it like when you're twitching it, you want to make it where it goes boom, 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 and maybe just let it pause for a second. Boom, 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 let it pause for a second. And that is done when you're working it. It's just like this, you know, you throw it out there and go boom, boom, boom. Let it stop. Boom, boom, boom. And in that off-colored water, if you can throw this thing closer to the bank or next to an object like a dock or a lay down, a lot of times those fish will attack it in that little bit more off-colored water, fishing it slower. Now, if you're fishing in clear water situation where the water is more open, say the water visibility is 4 foot or so and you're fishing a main lake point or just down a bank, that's when you need to speed it up a little bit. And that's why I like the spook when I'm fishing around an object, because it's wider and I can control it better. But the diamanté, if I'm fishing in open water, I can cover more water. So I'll make a long cast out there with the diamanté and I'll work it faster, and it's going, you know, pretty much like this through the water. It's just not stopping. It's coming all the way through. So instead of like, you know, with the spook where I was going boom, 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 with the diamanté in the open water, cleaner water, I'm throwing it out there and I'm going boom, 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 boom. I'm not stopping it at all. I'm trying to keep the bait moving through the water column pretty fast. I don't want them to get a really good look at it in that clear water. And especially if it's a little bit brighter. Let's say they're biting the top water a little bit and you've got some partly cloudy conditions, clear water. That's when you really have to speed it up. But if it's cloudy and it's clear water, you can slow it down a little bit, but you can still keep it moving. Main thing about it is you don't really have to stop it during the retrieve. Now, one tip that I will give you on top water that I learned from an angler called Shorty Evans. Shorty Evans was you know, from the Ozarks here where I live in Missouri. And he was like in his 80s back in the early 1980s. He was, you know, old even back when I started. And his technique for fishing the spooks that I've done good in open water is Shorty would throw it out there, and as soon as it hit the water, he would just like reel it as fast as he could, trying to get the spook to hop out of the water. So the spook would be in the water and it'd just be darting and popping out of the water and just going all crazy. And then he'd slow it down and start working it normal, but reeling it real fast like that for like the first 10 or 15 feet over that clear water, open water points, that would pull those fish a long way to investigate the commotion. So that works pretty good with that. Another thing with the spook walking top waters is your setups are pretty important. I use monofilament line most all the time. I usually use 14-pound test as my favorite. You need some type of a little bit shorter rod, shorter than 7 feet. My favorite is that Megabass Orochi 6 foot 11 inch 110 special, because it's got a sort of a softer tip on it, a little bit shorter. So you want a rod between, say, 6.5 feet, 6 feet 11 inches with some type of a medium action. That gives you the best ability to work the lure. Main thing, guys, is just throw it. May is the best month to throw it by far. You know, you can't beat it. Just throw it wherever you think there's some fish at. It's just a really good time of year to catch fish on top water. There's usually a 3 or 4 week window that works really good. And on one final tip I'll give you guys, if you guys have a clear water lake, say if the water visibility where you're fishing is over 4 foot, get out there on the bluff banks, the main lake bluff banks, and make long casts parallel down those bluffs, especially on some shady bluffs. That's a great way to catch them on a walking top water in the month of May. But anyway, guys, like I said, I'll link everything in my description, all the baits I use here for the video. Give it a try. Great, super fun way to catch them in May. And we'll be back later. Talk to you guys later.